Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a great replay sent in by Aloop from the RUSHB clan, playing in the Seattle, the Tier 9 American light cruiser. He's divvied up with a couple of his buddies, Squirrel Tag and Fish to the Face, and they're playing in the Essex and Missouri respectively, the Tier 9 American aircraft carrier and premium battleship, and they're playing some domination here on the map Shatter. So if you'd like to send a replay into us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, at gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post-game screenshots, a brief description, and then of course if you'd like myself or Spider to do the commentary, you can request for that as well. So, the Seattle here on World of Warships, what do you need to know about it? Well, unfortunately, it's not really been well received by the community, and there's a few reasons why. It's not a bad ship per se. There's really not that many high tier ships that are just straight up bad. But unfortunately, this ship comes in between two very stellar US light cruisers. Of course, at Tier 8 you have the Cleveland, which was moved up from Tier 6 when the light cruiser split happened, and the Cleveland is a very powerful Tier 8 light cruiser. You know, it's not gimped anymore, so it has even more powerful AA, it has faster firing guns, it has better stealth, it has access to radar. There's virtually nothing about the Cleveland that became a downgrade when the ship was moved up. And then at Tier 10 you have the Worcester, which is basically a Cleveland on steroids, where you have a ridiculous rate of fire on your 152mm guns, and your AA even puts a Des Moines to shame, relatively speaking. With the Seattle at Tier 9, however, there are a couple good things over the Cleveland, but this is a ship that has quite a few glaring weaknesses that make it a little bit harder to play than I would say the Cleveland or the Worcester. And here are the differences. Well, compared to the Cleveland, you are noticeably bigger, and you have a much worse rudder shift and turning circle. So this thing does not maneuver nearly as well as the Cleveland does. Its turning circle is 750 meters, which is rather poor for a light cruiser. And while it can go up to 33 knots, it also has a base rudder shift time of 12.1 seconds, which is right around the kind of rudder shift that you'd find on something like a Hindenburg. So this thing does not turn very well, and it has a rather large turning radius. The ship also has a little bit worse concealment than the Cleveland. With a full concealment build, you can still get it down to 9.4 kilometers, which means that you are able to hit the Y key the second that you're spotted, and you will be able to get radar on whatever ship is detecting you. Its radar range is about 9.5 kilometers, so that's good. The Seattle does have a pretty good AA suite. It is slightly better than the Cleveland, and it does shoot out to a little bit further range. And the ship also, compared to the Cleveland, has quite a bit more hit points and access to a heal, so it has a lot more staying power. However, the belt armor is noticeably worse. It's only 102 millimeters. Let me just make sure that is correct. Yep, 102 millimeters of belt armor, whereas the Cleveland goes up to 127. So this thing does not have as good of armor. So the increase in hit points and the heal that you get is kind of let down by the fact that this ship is not able to tank anything whatsoever. And it also has a 25 millimeter bow and stern. So any guns that are at least 16 inches above are going to be able to overmatch it without any problems whatsoever. So very unfortunate, and this ship is not very capable of tanking damage. Now, of course, how does the main battery perform? Well, it is a pretty nice increase in DPM. With a full gun build, you can get it down to 5.7 seconds before you factor in Adrenaline Rush kicking in, so it's a pretty solid reload. And you can see here, it does not appear that Aloop has main battery mod 3 on this, as we're going to take a look at his reload right here, and he is at 6.2 seconds, so no main battery mod 3 for him. I would imagine he probably has, oh, I don't know, maybe one of the AA modifications. He is in a division with a carrier, so there's a good chance that he's going to be utilizing some more AA power. And you're going to actually see the very good potency of the Seattle's AA here in a little bit. You can see that there are enemy fighter planes trying to chase away his friendly torpedo bombers, and you can see that his AA has already shot down a couple of planes without the help of defensive AA. But yeah, that's the thing with the Seattle. It's just a Cleveland that's a little bit different, and sometimes the changes that you have aren't necessarily well received by a lot of the community. One of the low-key things that is very bad about the Cleveland, and you can already notice it, look at the turret angles. It's right around 40 degrees to be able to get a full broadside, which means that you cannot use your full broadside of guns in this thing without putting yourself at risk for getting insta-citadeled by cruisers on up. And that's something that I'm not 100% sure if they're going to change it. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to buff it. It's definitely something that I would like to see because the Cleveland has amazing turret angles, the Pensacola, the Buffalo, you know, the Des Moines, all of the American cruisers, that's one of their main things. They all have excellent turret angles. And then the Seattle is just this random cruiser out of nowhere that just, it does not have good turret angles. So you can see here that he's just not able to make use of his rear turrets, unfortunately. He's getting some pretty good hits there on the Mogami, who has been forced to turn away as he goes undetected. But yeah, it's not a ship that you're going to be able to work out really good amounts of DPM without putting yourself at an angle where you're going to get citadel very heavily. So that's unfortunate. Anyway, now we're going to get into the game here. It's 425 to 319. His team has the A and the B cap, while the enemy team does have control of C. It is being contested, but still, the enemy team is down on points. Both sides have lost a ship. Aloop's team a destroyer and the enemy team a cruiser. You can see here he's in a pretty decent spot. There are quite a few enemy ships to the northwest of A that are trying to push around the corner, but it doesn't appear that they're going to be able to do so. It's kind of a little bit of a stalemate right here. And unfortunately, this is going to last for the next couple of minutes here as Aloop is just going to kind of hide behind this island, bide his time, and wait to try and push out and get some good shots into the enemy ships. Now, of course, because these are American guns, they still have the very floaty shell arcs, so you are able to lob shells over the corners of islands with relative ease, but unfortunately he's just a little bit too close to get more shots at the Massachusetts without some of the shells impacting the island that's just off to his starboard side. One thing I did forget to mention, fully upgraded, the ship has a range of 15.5 kilometers before you factor in the range modification, I believe. However, actually, let me check that real quick. I think it has a further range. I'm sorry, I don't have the ship right now. I'm still grinding to it. Let me just take a look here for the top configuration. Excuse me about this. Pardon me. Where's it at? The wiki says 14.7, but something tells me that might not be correct. I'm not 100% sure what that number is. If one of you guys in the comments below could please tell me, let me know. Not 100% sure why it's 15.5, but I digress. The Seattle has a decent enough range for Tier 9. Some people, when these ships were first leaked, it had even less range on it, and a lot of people were concerned that, you know, at the high tiers where you're on much bigger maps, that just the raw range would not be good enough, but around 15.5 is plenty good. That's about the same range that you'd find on something like a Des Moines without the range modification, so it does the job okay. You can see that he did activate his defensive AA when there were some torpedo planes that were coming in on his buddy in the Missouri, and he did shoot down, I believe, 5 of them. So he's up to 12 planes shot down, and that's pretty good. However, you can see as the carrier drops a pretty good meaty salvo of armor-piercing bombs there on the Colorado. This is the time that Aloop realizes that it's time to move out and try to get those guns singing. The Colorado did have to use his damage control, so if he is able to get out in front of him and get some fires or some good meaty high explosive damage on him, he's going to kill that guy very quickly. And as he comes around the island, he is going to get detected by the Colorado, of course, because he's only 7.1 kilometers away, but you're going to get a good taste of just how deadly these IFHE infused rounds are. And you can see here the shells going right into the middle part of the ship. 10 penetrations, 6,300 damage. Very awesome stuff. However, you can see trying to shoot over the rear of the ship is just as bad, if not slightly worse, for gun angles. So he's not able to get his front turrets into play very comfortably. However, because the IFHE is just raking the superstructure and the deck of the Colorado, he will be able to kill him just with the rear turrets. Another good salvo of just over 2,000 damage, and hopefully this one going in will be able to finish off that American battleship, and he indeed does. So at 40,000 damage, he picks up his first kill of the game on that Tier 7 battleship, and now his team, all of a sudden, not in a very good spot. They've lost 5 ships compared to the enemy team's 3, and an enemy Tirpitz has just managed to capture the B objective, so while they still have the lead, it's not going to remain like that for much longer. It's 498 to 433. He's now behind the smoke screen, so he's going to be able to get some good shots downrange at the enemy Massachusetts, and you can see right there, 3,500 damage on the very first salvo, and also lighting a fire on the bow of that premium American battleship. So good stuff. However, you can see here, once again, I cannot harp on the turret angles enough. They are extremely bad for an American cruiser, and it's something that a lot of people just, you know, you're just not used to it with the American cruisers. You're just so, you're so not used to it. I couldn't think of a better way to explain it, but You know how it is. All the American cruisers, just excellent turret angles, and then this thing is just an abomination, to put it lightly. So you can see here as he's backing up, still getting some really good rounds downrange into the Massachusetts, some very good shots. Unfortunately, some enemy planes have moved in just close enough to be able to get him detected, and you can see that the Massachusetts immediately decides to turn his guns his way. And he's going to have to start speeding up and getting out of dodge here. The next broadside going down range, he's going to have to turn in to try and present as little of a target as possible to the Massachusetts. He's on 27,000 hit points. The shells coming in, you can see a couple of them hitting just above the belt armor, doing about 6,500 damage. So I would imagine that he'd be using his heal here sometime soon, and there we go. Swinging his guns out wide just a little bit to be able to get the full broadside to bear on the Massachusetts. It does appear that he used his heal, so he's still at 8,200 hit points, but there we go. He gets the fire that will kill him for sure, and now at this point it's just a question of who is exactly going to get the kill on that guy. Another decent salvo from the front guns that went down range. The Massachusetts does shoot at him yet again, and you can see here a couple shells impacting, one right through the nose on a penetration and then one overpen. However, Aloop is able to take care of business and kill off that Tier 8 Premium American BB. So he's up to 80,000 damage and 2 kills so far. However, the enemy team has now captured all 3 objectives. And looking at the minimap, the entirety of his team, sans the carrier, are all concentrated just to the west of the A cap. So it's at this point that Aloop probably realized that he needs to go make a play on A and then get his butt on over to B. And just looking at the minimap, the enemy team is going to be pushing through C. You can see that there's some last reported positions well to the east over by the C cap of a Leon, an Otago, and a Mahan. So we're going to see where those enemy ships do end up, but a lot of them have made their way around at the B cap. So it's going to be a little difficult for him here, at least at first. Going to have to kill some of those cruisers. You can see the enemy Otago is moving in, has now been spotted yet again in Gulf 4 by the aircraft. So he's going to be moving in there to try and take care of business, so we'll see. But he's got to make a play real quick here because, you know, when you're down 3 caps, those points add up extremely quickly, especially if the enemy team is able to get a kill while they have a 3 cap lead. It just makes it that much further. However, the KNGV and the North Cal are getting on to the A cap, so it's going to buy his team a little bit of time. You can see some more shells that went downrange at the Chungmu, chunked him down to 1,400 hit points. Hopefully his team is going to be able to finish that kill off. We'll see. And now he's getting some shots downrange at the enemy Tirpitz, who is reversing and providing a full broadside in the middle of the B cap. And now he's trying to move into a position to get some shots on the Otago. Another low-key thing about these American light cruisers that I forgot to mention is that the AP performance at close range even is rather poor. They do not have very good penetration characteristics. He does get a nice double citadel right there on the enemy Otago, but as soon as he angles up just a little bit, you're going to see here that the citadels go away and a lot of over penetrations do occur. Now, a little bit of a mistake right here. If I was Aloop, I would shoot right on back at the very back 2 turrets, simply because that angle is not nearly as severe as trying to punch through the A and the B turret barbettes. But he's made the right play now, switching back to the high explosive. He's going to be able to lull pen this Otago pretty much everywhere along the center part of his ship, so it's only a matter of time until he's able to take care of business. 9 more penetrations right there. He does have to turn in. Hopefully the Otago doesn't get a salvo off, and he does not, as he takes care of that Tier 8 Premium Japanese heavy cruiser. Now he's swinging his guns into play to try to take care of the Mogami. Unfortunately, one of his front turrets was knocked out, so he's only able to utilize his A turret, it looks like here, as his B turret is still knocked out. The first salvo does not manage to hit the Mogami. Hopefully this next one will be able to take care of business, and unfortunately only lights him on fire, putting him down to 65 health, and then the fire was able to take care of him. And then yet again, he gets another turret knocked out. These turrets are pretty flimsy. You can see that they're rather boxy, at least on the sides and the rear, and I would imagine that one of those AP shells did manage to penetrate in there. Now, unfortunately, he's in a bit of a predicament here. Even after all the work that's been done, it's now 4 versus 5. The Chungmu's still on 1,400 hit points, but unfortunately he does not have any torpedoes because, of course, it's an American cruiser, and American cruisers, they do not come with torpedoes from the mid-tiers on up after you get past the Omaha. So, unfortunately, going up against 2 enemy battleships, potentially. The Tirpitz is moving through. However, he is going to get a shot here, hopefully, and kill the Chungmu, who, for whatever reason, decided to go out right in front of him. Not 100% sure why, but he does pick up the Kraken Unleashed on 104,000 points of damage, and the Tirpitz actually took a pretty big hit, so his team is bringing the scores back. The Tirpitz does die now, so now it's a 4 versus 3. However, he has to deal with a Leon, who, of course, has 16 of those rifles out in front. He does turn in to dodge the Chungmu torpedoes, who he knew was definitely dropping them. Very unfortunately for Aloop right here, Yeah, he takes a pretty big hit right through the nose, down to 2,400 hit points. You can see the secondaries from the Leon are going off as he gets lit on fire twice. That heal is coming in right now. He's got to put it up. Gets the kill on the enemy Leon, down to, again, less than 2,000 hit points. His defensive fire is going up as well to try to stave away the bomber attack that's coming in. He's already shot down 6 planes, and hopefully he's going to be able to shoot down more. His heal is on cooldown, so if he gets lit on fire once or twice, this is not good. But very fortunately for him, the defensive fire did its job, and he was able to take care of the dispersion on the bombers to a degree where he was not hit by any of them. Very fortunately, is he was able to use his heal as well to get back to 8,800 hit points. So now you can see that he's going to move in on the enemy Essex and hopefully be able to ambush him around the corner. And, wow, this has been a pretty insane game so far. The last couple of minutes have been very intense, but Aloop has kept his cool, and short of very unfortunately getting lull-penned through the front by those Leon guns, you know, he still has a decent amount of HP left, and he has another heal coming up here shortly. There's a little bit of a bug right now, so even though it says that he can hit the U key right now to get his heal back, that is definitely not the case. We're now going to switch here to the free cam. Going to see what his AA is able to do. Up to 26 planes shot down, which is a very nice number for any cruiser in a game that there's a carrier. We're going to see here if he's going to be able to take those planes down before they're able to get a drop on him. There goes one, so that's good stuff. And he's going to go around the corner here with the IFHE loaded, and a very nice strife right there by Squirrel Tag. Very good stuff, saving his buddy from a potential dive bomber attack. What he's going to do here is shoot the IFHE right into the side of the Essex. Then he's going to switch to the armor piercing, and you're going to see here that the AP, once again, it's just not very good. The second that he's angled just a little bit, you're going to see here some decent penetrations, but 528 damage with 4 pens, that makes absolutely no sense. And you're going to see here, one of the shells ricochets. He's shooting a little bit too far forward, so now he's starting to bounce off of the belt armor, at least on a few of the salvos. So he decides, you know what, I'm just going to switch back to the IFHE. This is the better play to make, and we're going to see what we can do here. And the second that he switches back, 12 shells hit, 12 penetrations, 6,100 damage. He's using one of his heals yet again, and now there we go. He's getting much better damage with the IFHE, so he's just going to continue to shoot at the Essex with it. Chucking him down to 5,000 hit points. Is he going to be able to get the kill? The Akatsuki puts him down on just enough HP where he's able to finish off the kill. And he picks up his 7th frag of the game. And, yeah, very awesome stuff right there. Maneuvering around the Seattle in the close-range combat. Something that it's not necessarily as good of a Cleveland or a Worcester in, but still being able to take care of business. His defensive fire is back. A full squadron of dive bombers are coming in. I don't believe he realizes that his defensive AA is up right now. And there we go. Now he's popping it. Hopefully he doesn't get hit too hard. He does take a fire and 2,200 damage, but his AA guns are going to finish off the rest of that bomber squadron, kill all 7 planes. He's up to 34 planes shot down. Very awesome stuff right there. And that is going to be the end of his game. There is one ship left, of course, in the Mahan, who is trying to chase down Squirrel Tag in the carrier. However, you can see Squirrel Tag is using his torpedo planes, and he's going to get a drop on that guy. And it looks like the planes are going in on the attack run, dropping down 3 torpedoes out. Is he going to be able to get the kill? Doesn't appear Aloop is going to be able to get the cap in time. He zooms in. The Mahan gets nuked right there, and that ends the game here on Shatter. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 751,000 credits received, 15.5k total experience, and 3,112 free XP. I would imagine that this is a first win of the day. He picked up Confederate, Dreadnought, and Kraken Unleashed, dealing 161,000 points of damage off of 322 shell hits. He shot down 34 planes, sank 7 enemy ships, 5 fires, 2 citadels, and 4 incapacitations. Taking a look at the team score, 2,896 base experience. Very nice game here by Aloop. His buddy Squirrel Tag finishing in 6th in the Essex with 32 planes and 1 frag. So very awesome stuff between those guys. And then Fish to the face. Very unfortunate. Last place, buddy. What are you doing? Taking a look now at the detailed report, 150,000 damage with the main battery, 106k with the HE, 44,000 with the armor piercing, and only 10k with the fires that he set. He also tanked 1.7 million potential damage, which is a very good number. So all that is good stuff. So Aloop, thank you for sending in the replay. It was a joy to watch, and I'm sure that you had a blast when this game was over with. I'm sure you were feeling pretty good about yourself, and this is one of the best Seattle replays that I've seen since the ship has been released. So very good stuff. Keep doing well, and yeah, very nice indeed. So this is the Sneaky Snake for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.